had a Marine officer, now retired, in my office just a couple of weeks ago. And he came in just to thank me because for many men, Wild at Heart is new. Many guys think it's a couple years old.
Continues to be
which is
that way.
awesome.
Yes,
it's fresh. It is so fresh. And so he came in to thank me and tell me the story of Afghanistan. He said, oh man, I said, I wish I had my original copy here for you to sign, but it was blown up. And then he talked about his platoon and his guys that he was leading. When they would come back in, they would dive in together because he said, we knew the battle was within. To preserve your soul in the midst of that. Wow. Welcome back, everybody, to the Wild at Heart podcast. Here we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the book and the message.
Hard to believe.
Wild at Heart. Yeah, it's just incredible. And we've got our pals and colleagues, Alex Burton and Bart Hansen, with us in the studio this week to pick up now what we're going to do. Last week, kind of talked about the message itself and the content and why a healing message like this can be so powerful. This week, we want to tell some stories to just give you the joy and a sense of a move of God all over the world that's still going on. Like it's actually gaining momentum after 25 years. But you know how this goes. Before we jump into the podcast each week, we all take a moment to pause and to give whatever is, come over us, come at us, come against us already in this day, wherever you are, or in your week, that you need to just go, I give all that to you now, God. So you can just come into a centered space. Let's take our pause together. Yeah, Father, I want to give everyone and everything to you right now. I need to give everyone and everything to you again. Thank you for this reminder. Thank you for the opportunity. So just take a moment, friends, and tune in to your own soul. What's come at you? What's come over you? What do you need to give over to God? Is there a disturbing phone call, a difficult conversation, your work, your parents? Take a moment and tune in to how you're doing, and then give that to Jesus. And if you need to keep going, if you feel like you're just getting started, hit pause and carry on, please, and then come back. Lord, as we turn a corner now into stories of the hand of God, we pray that you would come and speak to us, women and men, wherever we are, whatever our station in life, whatever our situation. I pray that you would breathe hope into us, your presence and your joy. In Jesus' name, amen. Bart, Alex, welcome to the studio, guys.
Great to be here, John.
Good to have you back.
Yes. Yeah. This will be fun.
Can you believe that we're celebrating the 25th anniversary?
It is just astounding to think that it's quarter of a century of this message.
Right?
It's just amazing.
Who gets that?
Yeah. Really. Really.
Who gets to be part of a 25-year run of something that is still accelerating?
Yeah. And that's the point, the acceleration of it. It's not a thing that's winding down.
For me, the funny thing is to think, I turned 50 this year. So 25 years ago is when I encountered Wild at Heart when you were writing it.
Yeah.
And we were hanging out together, working together in another context. And you were writing Wild at Heart. And that was half of my life ago that was happening.
Whoa,
so
buddy.
it feels 25 years is a massive amount of time.
Yeah. And as we were explaining to our listeners and viewers last week, like when you're in the presence, you're in in a meeting and maybe somebody gets prayed for and something really profound happens, you just know God is here.
Yes.
God's doing something. And these stories are like that.
Yeah.
So I finished writing Wild at Heart in a snowstorm.
Oh my God.
In the back of a rental car. So I wasn't even driving. We are in Indiana in December, and we're headed to Morgan and Sherry's wedding.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how long ago this is,
Wow.
right? And I'm in the back trying to finish the book on my lap, sharing pages and chapters with the other people, going, here, read a little bit of this, as we're in almost getting an accident, craziness. So there's a wildness to the whole story. All right. So last week we introduced the concept. You remember when we started, I think we were sitting in your cabin
Mm-hmm.
and God said to us, stay small,
Yes.
give it away. Right? Let it go out to the world. Don't be the constraining force of this. And what a rescue, because you can have freedom or you can have control.
Right.
We just really didn't want control. I don't really desire it. I don't like that. Let's micromanage everyone. Let's franchise. Let's make sure they use the right language and the right T-shirts and the kind of thing. We're like, nope, not our style. We're going to put this message out there.
John, I remember as we were discovering that and hearing from God in that, another important part of that was it said, live in the message that you are espousing. And just as a kind of a caution, don't just grow, because organizations that just continue to grow and grow and grow, they lose their way. And pretty soon it becomes, how do we keep this baby afloat?
Yes.
And I think we remain true to that, and it really did pay a dividend. I mean, look at our staff. We've got what, 17 staff?
Yeah. Yeah. And for an organization, you were pointing this out to us, for an organization with the global impact we have, the size of our budget and the size of our team, it doesn't explain it. We're a popsicle stand.
Yeah. But the leverage.
Yeah.
But that came from listening to God and remaining true to those precepts.
Okay. So I'm gonna show you guys a video. I reached out to some pals around the world and said, hey, would you shoot a selfie and just tell people what is going on in your neck of the woods? Now, these people work for us. We don't control them. We don't have any oversight whatsoever. But these stories. So we're going to share several of these video testimonies this week. But I want you guys, let's start with this one.
Hi, John. 20 years ago, the WildAt Heart message gave me language to something that I felt my entire life but couldn't put my finger on. It was the idea that beneath the striving and the performance and the wounds, there was actually a heart. And that heart was in need of God. And for me, the book was more than a message. It was more than just a book. It became an invitation to pursue those things, the healing, the restoration of identity. And man, I got way more than I could bargain for. And it didn't stop with me. It shaped and changed the culture of our entire family, how we interact with one another, how we see each other, how our conversations go, how we behave to one another. Through the decades, it has truly saved our family. I truly believe that. But it didn't stop just with me. As you know, this message has had a huge impact And so through our tiny little ministry that is much aligned with yours here in Australia, but also in the Netherlands, we have seen countless men and women come to Christ, discover the relationship with God their Father, and walk in new identities. It's been such an amazing blessing. One of the biggest gifts it's given me was the reconciliation with my own father. So we were estranged for 45 years, and 2 days before his passing, I had the courage with my son to sit at his deathbed and bring him before Christ, all due to my own restoration and my own journey. And I believe that the best is yet to come, John. Your book has had such an impact on the world, on me personally, on my wife, on my children, and I believe this is for generations to come. And so I want to thank you. I want to congratulate you for 25 years, but I want to thank you personally because you had the courage first, and you have instilled that in countless lives of men and women across the world. So with much love from Australia. Bye.
Wow, man.
It's amazing.
How many years did he say they've been offering it to other guys? Did he say?
More than 10 years.
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
Both in the Netherlands. So he's an Australian who married a Netherlands gal,
Right.
a Dutch gal.
Right.
Lived there for quite a while.
Yeah.
And they started putting on their own, both Wild at Heart and Captivating retreats there faithfully, just year after year. And then when he and Lana moved back to Adelaide in Australia, then they kicked it up again there.
Yeah.
And his story, guys, like his therapist, he told me this, his therapist said, you ought to be under a bridge.
Wow.
You know, the brokenness, the severity of the wounding that so many of us know in different contexts and go, instead, he's got a beautiful marriage. He's got a beautiful family.
Yeah.
He leads his dad to Jesus on his deathbed. It's redemption.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking about, just watching the restoration in his life and finding a way of life. Yeah. And now he's just compelled to offer it to other people. Exactly. Right. And that's the beautiful story of all these allies is they don't come and learn to do something. They come and have a transformation, and that transformation leads them to be compelled to go offer it to others. And that was what was so beautiful about what God did at the beginning, John, when he told you, give it away, right? Just don't try to control this thing, let it go. And that's why it can do this, which is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm struck by so many men's messages is just that whole thing of sin management and that kind of thing. And as Alex said, this man, he was transformed, and that's story after story after story.
Okay, so help me tell the story of the movement. Okay, this isn't the John Eldredge story. We've already admitted that. It's just uncanny. It is a story of a move of God among men, women, and their families, communities all around the world. Help me sort of illustrate that, right?
Yeah, I think of guys like Corne in South Africa. So we did do a mission at one point to South Africa. We went because we started hearing from men in South Africa who had gotten a hold of this message and were taking it because of that thing of like, hey, you can do this. Go ahead and run with it. And we've got a beautiful guy, Corne, and his wife, Madeleine, down in Cape Town. And so he took it and ran and started offering this to guys in the Cape Town area of South Africa. And they're still going. They've been offering boot camps for almost 15, maybe 20 years. It feels like it's been that long. And the same sort of stories of transformation. Guys come and they get a hold of this and it transforms their lives. And Cornet's still going with it.
In a really difficult culture, by the way.
Right.
Like, can we just like the tension and the economic upheaval and men, losing careers, marriages in hard places.
Yeah.
And that's the proof of the pudding,
Yes.
right? Like, because he's able to carry on that many years in a really difficult context.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's been tough years. He's reached out at times just acknowledging, man, we're getting hammered down here, but God's been really faithful in what they're doing. And I got a message from him, I don't know how many months ago, but I think they either just did or are about to do another boot camp.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The military, I think, grabbed a hold of this very early on. Back just right after the book was released, I got wind of a group of captains down in Altus Air Force Base. And they were all C-5A pilots. They were tanker pilots. But there was a whole community of these guys that glommed on to WildAt Heart. And I remember went down there and connected with these guys. A lot of these guys are still with us. And they were carrying it out in their own worlds to teach this. But the military really had an affinity for this message early on. The story of Paul Lavelle, he was more of a Saul. He persecuted Christians in the Pentagon because of their belief in Christ. And his commanding officer, when he left the Air Force, the guy that he worked with right here in Colorado Springs just said, Paul, I'm going to use all of my capital. I'm going to send you to this thing called WildAt Heart Boot Camp. And it took all that capital to do it. But Paul went as an atheist unbeliever, and his life was transformed. He got up to walk and leave the whole thing. And he was struck by what was going on a video clip.
We were in the wound session.
Yes.
So this is now Friday afternoon.
Yes.
And he's done. He's going to go skiing. So he's ejecting out the back when the Goodwill Hunting clip came on, which was his story.
Yes.
And then it was sit down on the steps. So he's sitting on the stairs by the door. Wow. God's pulling him in. And then it's the tears. And then it's, oh my gosh, he comes to Christ. And then he starts mission and a ministry to military guys who are carrying a lot. They're carrying so much trauma.
PTSD.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And again, the healing nature of the message, we were talking last week that it's not just behavior modification. This message is a healing and restorative message. So Paul starts ministering to, guys coming out of the SEAL teams and, special forces, Army Ranger guys who are coming back from serving overseas pretty beat up. And the healing continues through their extraordinary ministry.
Yeah, 18 years in that ministry now. Yeah. And I've been to a couple of their reunions and talked to just story after story after story of every guy saying, when I came to this, I was going to commit suicide. That was my next move.
Yeah.
And he said, but Paul, in this message of WildAt Heart, saved my life. Yeah. And I think if you can count those stories, I think Paul has probably saved 3,000 lives of guys like that, pulling them out of the fire.
Yes.
And it came from Paul's transformation that day when he sat down on those steps.
Oh, it's just so
and
beautiful.
Said, that's my story.
Yes.
And he gave his life to Christ.
Yes.
And he got healing and restoration. I mean, it's just a beautiful, beautiful picture.
I want to stay with the military story for a minute because I had a Marine officer now retired in my office just a couple of weeks ago. And he came in just to thank me, because for many men, Wild at Heart is new.
Yes.
Many guys think it's a couple years old.
Continues to be
which is
that way.
awesome.
Yes.
It's fresh. It is so fresh. And so he came in to thank me and tell me the story of Afghanistan. And one of the things he said, oh man, I wish I had my original copy here for you to sign, but it was blown up. And then he talked about his platoon and his guys that he was leading. When they would come back in, they would dive in together, because he said this. He said, we knew the battle was within.
Wow.
The battle was within, and not to get taken out and not to be overwhelmed or give way to anger or hatred, or, but to preserve your soul in the midst of that.
Wow. John, what was that story? It's not that guy. It was another guy that found a copy of Wild at Heart when he was on deployment in the desert.
Yes. Yeah. So this is Desert Storm. This is Iraq. And they are in a firefight outside of Baghdad. So, it's full on throwdown, right? Yeah. He looks down in the desert sands, and there's a copy of Wild at Heart laying in the desert outside Baghdad. So he just stuffs it in his jacket and goes on, thinking that one of his pals dropped what must be like a precious possession to him. He didn't know what it was, but he just thought, oh, this is somebody's sacred text. And so they get back in, and he holds it up. He's like, hey, who lost this? And nobody can identify it. And they're like, well, let's read it together. Ends up going through the whole division, Bible studies, guys coming to Christ, because he finds it in the sands.
That's incredible.
One of the wild things in those years when a lot of that was happening in Afghanistan and Iraq, we had a chaplain, the head chaplain at Fort Bragg, who worked with the airborne and all of that. And he was kind of in charge of all the other chaplains, and he would reach out to us and go, can I get copies of Wild at Heart? And he would share that with all the chaplains that were there. And he was like, it's the one thing that makes a difference in these guys' lives. And so I love to think about that. I wonder if there was a chaplain there that had dropped that in the sand and it got in the hands of those guys. Like, it's a wild story.
Remember when we did the boot camp in Central Coast, California? I think it was at Mount Herman?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this, but there were 17 of those chaplains.
The Army chaplains,
that he brought that came to that.
Oh, really?
That came to that boot camp. And they were from all over.
Oh, thank you, God.
17 guys.
Yeah.
And to bring the healing back.
Well, and we're talking about military and the amazing stories there, but I'm also reminded of some of the stories we've heard about prisons.
Yes.
And what Wild at Heart, the impact that's having in prisons, not just in the U.S., but around the world. And John, I'd love for you to tell a little bit more about Janine and Colombia and what's happening.
Yeah, who I just got another message and testimony from this last week. So beautiful American missionary, gave her life to serve Christ in Colombia. So English is like her second language now, and she's just deeply immersed her whole life down in that culture. She gets Wild at Heart and goes, oh my gosh, this will speak to the men. This will speak. So she takes it, single, middle-aged American woman, goes into the hardest cartel prisons. Everybody that's in this prison is in there for murder.
Right.
And leads Wild at Heart Bible studies for guys. And essentially what starts happening is like revival breaks out, like guys coming to Christ, radical transformation.
Yeah.
They get out of prison, go into ministry themselves, become pastors, priests, you know. And again, you would think, okay, everybody's got a couple of those stories. That's been going on for 20 years now.
Yeah.
And she just sent us a prayer request a couple of weeks ago to say, going back in, we've got a group of guys who are, she had trained some people. They were doing it again in some remote prison further in the country.
That first prison she was in Medellin, was the most violent prison probably in the world. And the story of what God did there, like to bring redemption to one of the darkest, most violent places on earth.
Yeah.
And I kind of recall over the years hearing a couple of stories where people got released from prison. They had uncommutable sentences.
Yes.
And they saw the transformation of what they did, and they got, as a result, got released from prison.
And then there's a whole other side to this, ladies. There's the captivating, the healing of women's hearts, women's souls, that message.
Yeah.
Well, Janine and her gals picked that up and have been sending us photos and videos of the women's events going on down there. Just redemption and healing. Yeah. When you take this into highly traumatized environments and it works, you're seeing the beauty of Jesus. Mm-hmm. You're seeing his ability to reach into some pretty horrible stories and bring healing and redemption to it.
Right.
Yeah. And a little closer to home than Colombia, in Texas, we have an ally, Barry.
Our good friend Barry.
Who has been spending, I think, decades going into men's and women's prisons, leading Wild at Heart and captivating studies.
Yeah.
And just faithfully, I mean, that's not his full-time job, right? I mean,
it is so beautiful.
And his heart for prisoners, trying to literally set the captives free inside first, right? Mm-hmm. Who they are. It's just beautiful to behold.
Yeah, he built up so much capital with the Department of Corrections down in Texas that they gave him a lot of latitude with these guys with the message, because they saw the fruit.
Yeah.
Saw the fruit of the...
Oh, we've held events. We've held events where they've released guys to come to the event.
Yeah.
Because they know how healing it is.
Yeah. When we were in Hawaii, there were guys that literally got out of prison just to come to the event.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay. So speaking of Colombia, I got another video to show. We got to go to our pal, Pablo.
Yeah.
Pablo Cerrone, and watch and listen to his story, because he's another one of those stories that his marriage was a disaster, and he was like a shell of a man. Mm. He was not who he is today. Mm-hmm. And same thing, healing, and then he takes off with it and starts leading a bunch of other guys through it.
I am Pablo Cerrone, and I am originally from Colombia. And over 20 years ago now, I was not doing well at all. A series of circumstances had led me to lose heart completely. And I was in the process of losing my marriage. And one day I was sitting, having lunch with a friend, sharing a lot of what I was going through, when he chose to give me a very special gift. He gave me this book. He gave me the book Wild at Heart, and with the book, he extended an invitation for me to start exploring my story through the lens of what John Eldredge had been writing in Wild at Heart. That was the beginning of an incredible adventure. God led me through me exploring my story through the lens of Wild at Heart. He led me on a journey of healing, a journey of restoration, a journey of transformation, a journey of initiation as a man to become more and more who he created me to be. I didn't know it at the time, but my friend's invitation and this gift was the way that God used to open the doors of the kingdom of God to me. As a result of this journey, I was able to get my heart back, to recover my strength, to recover my confidence, to recover perspective, to know what I was meant to do and how to do it in union with God. And so I began to fight for my wife, and we were able to recover and restore our marriage. And now, because of what we have come to experience together with God and this wild adventure, we began to share with others. We began to grab copies of the book and extend them to our friends, to men around who needed to hear that restoration is possible, that freedom is possible, that more than good behaviors and actions, men need permission to be who God created them to be, permission to come alive and to live a life of passion and adventure and freedom walking intimately with God and becoming all that they were meant to be as well. And so it started with us giving the book away and having conversations around coffee or lunch, just like the one that I had with my friend back in the day. And over time, that turned into sitting around the fire with friends and sharing stories and fighting for one another. And the group began to grow. So we chose to start hosting our own events to tell our story more openly with raw vulnerability and authenticity, but inviting people to experience healing and transformation and restoration. And so we didn't see it at the time what God was forming, but we ended up creating our own ministry, our own outpost of the kingdom, fighting for men. And it's been now over a decade of fighting for men, and through them fighting for families and for marriages and for communities. And we have come to witness firsthand the effects, the fruit of what is captured here in this book, the gospel of the heart, the great news of what Jesus came to do to set us free. This is a revolution, and we have the privilege to be on the front line, witnessing what God is doing. It's been 25 years of this incredible book, and one of my greatest pleasures is to do what my friend did for me 20 plus years ago, to sit across the table from a man and to extend this book as a gift, and with it an invitation. Would you be willing to open your heart, to read this book with God, to process your story through the lens of it, hopefully in the company of brothers, and to see what God can do if you give him your yes?
Well, I love Pablo. Yeah. I love Juanita, their marriage, and just the impact of Wild at Heart on his heart and her heart, and what that has rippled into.
Yeah.
Because and people can hear his story on the Wild at Heart experience, like it's out there. But basically, not only did it change him, but now he is on the front lines,
right,
changing men's lives through a ministry that he leads that was inspired and shaped by Wild at Heart early on. And it's just beautiful. I also want his accent, because it's the best accent in the world.
It is.
And
most
I love
interesting man in the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's beautiful. And just amazing. He's the epitome of a wounded healer, right? Someone who's deeply wounded and broken and finds redemption and is now offering it to others. And my son and I had the chance to go together to one of his events that he's leading, and it's our message. Like he's offering that to other guys, and it's beautiful, and ministered to me, ministered to my son. So really, really good.
What I love about Pablo's story is his transparency with his own life, and I think that's a critical point that really resonates through all of these stories. Is man, we just find out how broken we really are, but that transparency really does help spread this message and engender that deep healing that we have. But I love Pablo's very transparent heart of what the damage he caused in his family, and owning his sin, and then going after the healing and restoration.
Goodness. And it was a guy who took him out to coffee.
Right.
And said, "How you doing? And the thing was, you don't look like you're doing so well. Your life, your whole world's falling apart. Hey, why don't we go through this? Why don't we go through this book together?" And when we talk about men and women doing this around the world, there's a few ways they do it. They either take our videos, which are completely plug and play, ready to go, both the women's events and the men's, or the women's study that's shorter and the men's study. Just take it and run with it. And now we're dubbing it and subtitling it into a lot of other languages. Yeah. Or many of them get it so to them and in their DNA that then they start just delivering the message themselves, or some combination of the two.
That reminds me, I think it was 2012, Bart. We had an ally in Iowa, Dave Robison, that he came into this message radically transformed by this. I mean, this was a guy who was deeply broken, and
a big brain tumor.
He had
as well.
brain cancer.
He had brain cancer.
He had a death sentence.
Oh, totally. And the message of Wild at Heart rescued him, and God rescued him, and he's still alive today. Like it's a God story in terms of this guy's life, and but he was deeply transformed by this message and decided he wanted to offer it to the men of Iowa. And so he was one of those guys before we had Basic on the site and where guys could show the videos. He's like, hey, can I do this? Can I offer this? And so you and I, Bart, went out there the first time he did it to kind of help him along. And he literally, with his guys, he would watch the sessions that were on video on, I forget, we had DVDs, right? So he watched those and absorbed the content and then wrote an outline of the session and then started offering that. And those guys have been doing that since 2012, every year.
Right.
And they have hundreds of guys all over Iowa and from other states that'll come in for their Wild at Heart boot camp.
I remember talking to a guy that he was thanking us profusely for what this message had done in his life. And the kind of pressed and said, well, when did you come to our boot camp? He goes, oh, I went to a boot camp in Iowa.
Yes. Oh, yes. I've had women stop me in airports.
Yeah.
Right. And say, oh, thank you so much for what you've done. And I'm trying to remember her husband, that kind of thing. And that boot camp that you did down in South Carolina. I'm like, we've never done an event in South Carolina. But in that mind, I know what's going on.
Yes.
Some group of guys or group of women are putting it on.
Yes.
And the same redemption's taking place. That's when you know God is in it, right? It's not a manufactured thing, and it's not one and done. It just keeps having these ripple effects. Last week, the listeners got to hear Lane Davis's story.
Oh, yeah.
And I was cracking up because I think those guys have done more events than we have.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Just one group of guys.
Totally. And you know that whole thing, how it got started, Lane was in this national company, and the CEO he read Wild at Heart, and he, at the top level of that company, he said, hey, let's go through this message together. Well, they started doing boot camps, and then Lane was a disciple of that. And so Lane's done all of this stuff in Southern California. I went to one of Lane's. Remember, he invited me. He says, hey, come, we got a few guys. We're going to hang out in an early morning. So come on over and have some coffee with us. Well, I went over there. 400 guys there.
No way.
400 guys meeting. And they do this like once a month. But Lane is, he's just done an incredible work there. I think I just got a text from him, and he said, we just had a boot camp, 180 guys. So there are 150, 180 guys. He just does it week after week after week. But what germinated in this company, there was a man, he ended up retiring from the company, moved to Belize, and he started training pastors that spoke Spanish in the message of Wild at Heart, and sending them into Central America. And I got, Lane was telling me, he says, yeah, they just did 260 guys back in April of this year in Nicaragua.
Yes.
And it had a picture of 260 guys there.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
It is. It's so beautiful. Okay. So let me go to Europe now. Arnstein from Norway.
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to hear the video that he sent in.
Hi, this is Arnstein from Norway. I read the WildAt Heart book many years ago, and I really enjoyed it. But it wasn't until 2015, when I went on my first boot camp in Colorado, that I really got the message. Through a very deep and personal encounter with God, and healing on wounds that I did not understood and knew existed actually at that time, I went from being fatherless to becoming a son. And this has really been my driving force ever since that. Because of my change and transformations, I got some friends very interested in this, and the next year we started up doing live boot camps in Norway. I had done this the last 10 years. The last year we also started up doing them in English as well, so our European friends could come to live boot camps in Norway. The testimonies, not only from my life, from our marriage, but from the men and the marriage that is included in that, had just been fantastic. Marriage and lives, actually, have been saved. And the quality of the lives that the men and the marriage is having today is so different from when they first came in contact with this message. A man can be wholehearted and healed again and come into a new identity. And from this, it's just so, we are so thankful for. So for your 25th anniversary, we say, God bless, and we're really looking forward to the next 25 years.
I remember when he came to that boot camp in 2015. Yeah. He's like 7 feet tall. He's hard to miss. He's like a beautiful man. But I remember he came out, he was so lit up. Like it had captured his heart and mind and soul. And he was quickly ready to offer it to others. And so I remember he came up and he's like, can I be Wild at Heart in Norway? And it was like, well, crawl, walk, run, buddy, go for it. Yes. And he did. And he's been going for 10 years.
Faithfully. Yeah. In a very, very difficult cultural context.
Yes.
Okay. So like gender is not smiled upon in Norway, in many, developed nations. And there's not a large population of Jesus followers there. Right. So he and his team faithfully putting on, and now they're adding events for women.
Yeah.
And so I'm just loving sharing with our listeners how vast this is. Okay. So in this spring, let's see if we can name all of the Wild at Heart events that we know have been going on. So I just got a text from my pal, Bohush. They just put one on in Podolini, Slovakia. We know our guys in Germany just completed one with 300 guys at it. There was the one in Nicaragua, 260 men. There was one in the mountains of Mexico that we only got rumor of.
Yeah, let me start off talking about a community. Our good friend Otis.
Yeah.
He came and just rocked his world. And Otis, he's now about 80 years old, and Otis has just been a longtime ally. But as soon as he experienced this, he really has a heart for his city in Georgia, south of Atlanta. And it was his goal to send 50 pastors out of his city to this. And I think I kind of lost count in the high 30s, but I think
he scholarshiped every one of those guys to fly out. So airline tickets, time away, all that, come to the retreats.
And so we go to Columbus often, and you just walk, in the circles that he's in, you just see, this guy came and this guy came and this guy's experienced it and so forth. He's changed the complexion of that community spiritually.
Wow.
With his investment into this message. It's transformed the whole city. Just amazing.
It is.
Wow. Beautiful.
So Bart, speaking of like influence into a community, like a really unique community, is our ally. I won't say his name because I don't know like how much he needs to stay under the radar, but we've got an ally that does ministry in Burma, and he actually works with like the Free Burma Rangers, is it called? But these guys that are like fighting in Burma, and he brings the Wild at Heart message to these guys, and is ministering to these hardened warriors in Burma.
I remember that photo.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful of their first event.
Yeah.
And here's these Burmese guys whose smiles on their faces.
Right. Yeah. So really beautiful. It speaks to if you have a sphere of influence, like you can take this and you can offer it in whatever your context is, whatever place God's given you to do your thing.
And we have allies in China, and obviously we can't identify those guys, but they're undercover and they're having an incredible yield for the kingdom there.
Yeah.
With this message and under the just doing business there and with what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poland, I'm pretty sure it's some of the guys near Warsaw. And then, of course, Cornay in South Africa that we talked about.
Yeah.
Houston, Texas, 400 men gathered, and of those 440 came to Christ during the event.
Yeah. I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah. Wow.
Ireland, I'm aware of. Australia, Colombia, we're aware of that. And these are just the ones we're aware of.
Right.
And we don't know all that's going on all over the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the ones that are doing marriage things, the ones that are doing women's things.
Right.
And friends, if we didn't name your story, we know you're out there. I'm just thinking of all these beautiful allies in Japan and England and Egypt and Africa. I mean, all over the world. Thank you. Thank you. We couldn't tell everyone's story, but we know you're there and we are so grateful for you.
There are so many unspoken heroes, guys who we don't even know, their name, or we may have heard vaguely, but all around the world. But in the U.S., like guys leading 3-4 guys in a cabin, in their garage, in their backyard, at a church. Like, I wish we had a rolling credit of all those people, because it would be thousands. And we just love how guys are taking this and running with it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then we launched Wild at Heart Fires, which was the idea of, and now women are doing it as well. So men's and women's fires of just pulling people around every couple of weeks, once a month, just for storytelling, just a safe place for your heart. So I'm going to play one more video this week. And this is a friend of ours in the southern part of Ireland who's been going after some pretty tough characters down there.
Hi there, my name is Alex and I live in the south of Ireland in a place called Cork, and I have tracked with the WildAt Heart message for over 20 years now, first hearing John speak in Dublin all those moons ago. It's been, what a journey. I mean, it's been incredible. God has done some profound things through the message of WildAt Heart, through retreats, which I've been blessed enough to go on. Jesus has brought incredible inner healing, touching broken young places in me, that has calmed my soul, has brought peace to me and peace into my home. My wife and my children would say that it's brought real change in my life, and that's been my own journey. But I've also had the privilege of journeying with a group of men in a fire that we meet once a month. Our group is called Meat, MEAT, because we eat meat together. We meet together, we have a glass of whiskey and we sit around a fire. In the south of Ireland, that's no joke sometimes, particularly in the winter. It can be pretty cold, but we tough it out and we explore the deeper things of God together. We've used some of the small group material, like Experiencing Jesus Really or Fathered by God. It brought some really deep and powerful conversations. Men hide, they stay at home. They very often shirk responsibility, but this material is a wonderful way of drawing men out. They're happy to sit in the dark and discuss deep things using fire questions and other material that the guys have produced. It's been really profound to see men grow in their walk with God and their journey, and to explore deep and often painful and hurtful things for them, done in a safe space, in a structured way, led by the WildAt Heart team overall, but delivered by somebody like me in Cork. So if you were considering maybe getting involved and doing something like that, I would highly recommend it. It's a huge privilege to walk with other men in a journey like that. And the material is solid, it's safe. And what I would say is that the guys that I know from Wild at Heart are the same on stage as they are off stage. There's no difference. The material is real, it's hard, but it's very kind. It's brought in such a gentle and beautiful way that it actually unlocks hard guys and people who've walked a tough journey and allows them to really explore the things of God in a really profound way. So, if you're considering maybe getting involved, being part of that, I would highly recommend it. It's changed me. It's changed our household. My wife has journeyed in this as well, and it's been a hugely, hugely important part of her spiritual life. And it's really helped our home to grow, to trust God more. And it's a beautiful gift to be able to share with other people. So thank you to everyone at Wild at Heart for all that you do and for the change that you're bringing across the world. It's really profound.
Yeah, so cool. And, just the simplicity of a guy that offers a fire and invites other guys to come around and get honest with each other. And that's happening. There's thousands. Have you looked at the website?
No.
And looked at the fire map?
Not recently.
So there's a map on our website. If you go to wildatheart.org and you click on events and you go down to the fires on there, and you just do a search that pulls up a map, like
it's a beautiful interactive map.
Yeah, yeah. But you can't see the U.S. because there's just fires everywhere. It just looks like the whole U.S. is on fire.
Yes,
and other places as well. But like in Ireland, it's really incredible, and it's just the simplicity of like offering a space where guys can be honest and encounter God through some honest conversation with each other.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I loved his invitation to offer. So anything that we do is available for free, friends.
Right.
Yeah.
For women and for men. And you can get on our website, go to the events page, and you can look at things you can host, down from simple Bible studies and the new one-day captivating retreat, kind of gentle on-ramps, hosting a fire.
Yeah.
For women or for men in your area. And you can post it or not. You don't have to.
Yeah. And not only just hosting, but if you want to attend one, if you're not quite ready to host, but if you're like, is there a fire near me? And you'll probably find there's 2 or 3 within 10 minutes, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So you can attend and then ultimately lead, or, you can start leading, but we want you to get involved. Like he said, this is a message that is worth investing in for your own heart and for the hearts of those around you. So leading or attending, please get involved.
And the full retreats are also the full 4-day retreats for women, for men, all the videos, the teaching, the exercises, there's leadership guides, video counsel to those who do lead. We kind of walk you through that experience and how to do that well. And what we're discussing is the healing presence of God.
Yeah.
It's the most beautiful thing in the world. It's so holy. And to be 25 years into a message that is gaining momentum.
Yes.
Right.
As opposed to winding down.
Yeah.
We've told people that we were in the Netherlands in March of this year. We had men from 40 countries come to that retreat.
Yeah.
God is at work.
And John, so many young guys that were in that audience. And I just to name it, like what I'm seeing of young men that are getting a hold of this and running with it. Like my daughter in college was down in Arizona, and they do Bible studies on the floors. And the guy who leads that is a guy who loves Wild at Heart. His life was transformed by Wild at Heart.
Right.
And so he leads all the young men who are Bible study leaders on their hall through the Wild at Heart experience as they're leading their halls. And so like the young guys, like we're saying, it's just continues and it's gaining momentum. It's really beautiful.
Friends, I hope this hasn't felt like sitting in on your uncle's home videos. I really don't.
Yeah.
I really don't. It is so beautiful to watch God at work in people's lives all over the world, healing, redemption, families, and then the ripple effect of it. We wanted encouragement and joy, and to go, hey, we're celebrating the 25th anniversary, and like, we're going to several more countries this year. We're going to be overseas next year. You can get on our website and see where we're going. But also on our website, you can see people who are hosting things, hopefully in your area.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're the person to host it for the first time in your area.
And be the person that picks up a copy of the book and gives it to another man.
Yes.
Make that decision to risk.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if he'll read it immediately or if he'll read it 2 years from now.
Yes.
But give it to a 16-year-old, 18-year-old, 50-year-old. Find someone to just say, hey, I think you would really benefit from this. And trust God. Walk with God in that.
Yeah.
That's changed millions.
Oh, I've got friends who now have it in their carry-on on flights. They've got it in their satchel because they just know they're going to run into somebody who's got a story. Hey, here, you might want to check this out.
Right.
Yeah. So here's what we want to say. We want to say, Jesus, you are extraordinary. Father, you are so beautiful. Holy Spirit, your pursuit of human hearts. You are extraordinary, God. Your story is so beautiful. And the stories of the men and the women and their families that you are rescuing, healing, restoring. We are in awe of you, God. We are in awe of you. And we are celebrating something you are doing all over the world. We're just cheering, God. Thanks for including us in it, Papa.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.
Hey friends, this is Alan. Thanks for being part of this week's podcast. And before you rush off into what's next, we invite you to spend some time reflecting with God on what you've heard and on where He's leading.